And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey everybody, today we're taking a look at Cry Havoc from Portal Games. Now when I looked at the cover of Cry Havoc, it looked like it was based on one of those popular first-person shooters, games that people play, and I honestly didn't think much about it. When I saw it at Dice Tower Con laid out, I was like, oh wow, there's miniatures. I had watched a few videos about the different races, and again, I kind of had put it to the back of my head, but the miniatures were really good quality, and the board just looked really fun. And then he said that it took less than 2 hours, like a 90-minute game, and I was intrigued, so I decided to give it a play, well, let's talk about how the game works, and I'll tell you my thoughts. This is the planet that you are contesting. Each player has a starting area where they're going to place 4 of their units. We have the evil machines. Their goal in life is to kill all, well, life. They actually don't care about life. Their goal is to kill it all. We have the pilgrims. These guys are here just to extract energy. I don't know exactly. They're mysterious. So then we have the humans, the space marines. Think about the group that came down in the movie Avatar, and then you got these guys. And then we have the trogs. These are the guys who live on the planet. They're mean and they're brutish, but hey, it's their planet. And if you play with less than 4 players, they actually are a neutral player on the board, and they only start with 2 units here in the middle. So players are going to be setting up the board. On the board is going to be crystals. This is the stuff that you're going after, and this is going to be worth victory points if you can control areas where that's in. This one here has 5 in it. And there's a possibility of more crystals showing up in different areas. The game is going to keep track of your scoring over here on a scoring track. You're going to try to control areas getting you points and controlling those crystals. The Marines have other ways that they can get points. Each player is in front of them going to have like a little console. This console shows them their round. Next to it are a bunch of different buildings that they can build. And then over here is a card or cards that they'll be able to play. These are cards or special cards that can be kind of exhausted or tapped once per round, and you always have one default, and if you're playing a basic game, that's all you have, but if you play the advanced game, you can add more of them as time goes by. Now, each round of the game, there's going to be an event. These events are placed on the track so you know where they go, and multiple events might go off if you move fast enough on scoring. So this one says, place 1 crystal in every region without crystals. Whew, all right, well now the board is going to have plenty of crystals all over the place. Remember, controlling crystals can get you a lot of points. So we would be placing crystals all over the board in any spot that does not have crystals in it. And so there's a lot of those on the board. So you'll do the event is the very first thing that you'll do on a turn. And then players will check initiative. Play order will stay the same over the course of the game, but it can change if players play cards that do so. Once you've determined initiative, each player is going to get 3 actions, and you'll take those actions one at a time. And you're going to be doing so with some cards. Each player has a deck of cards, and these decks are completely different, although they have some similarities in them. You'll be drawing 4 at the beginning of every round, and you can have a maximum hand limit of 7 of these cards. And when you play a card, you can do it for different actions. You might want to play a card for movement. When you take an action, I could play all these cards together, and I would look at all the movement symbols on them. So 2, 4, 5. So there's 5 movement symbols on them, and I can move 5. So this is the blue, so I could say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or I could just go 1, 2, 3, 4, any combination I want to. If you move into someone else where there's someone there, then a battle is going to break out there. And you're going to put a numbered battle token to show that there's a battle going on there, and no one else can move to or out of that region. That battle's been started. This is going to be the Pilgrims versus the Grog one-on-one. If there was a whole pile more Grogs, maybe some of them can escape. You can escape with more than double the number of attackers. But for the most part, you're stuck in a battle. No one else can go in that region. And there's multiple discs for multiple battles. You just have they have numbers on them to keep track. Another thing a player can do is they can draw a card. When they draw a card, they're going to pick one of these regions on the side of the board. Maybe a mountain region, they'll draw the top 2 cards, and they'll be adding this one to their deck, essentially. Now here, they're exactly the same thing, but maybe of a choice of which one to do. They have different battle effects that they'll be used for in battle, but usually they have the same type of thing, which is shown. Mountains will give more of the building points. And so drawing a card is an action. You can play an action to recruit more troops. You'll use the second row of icons there. So if I play this, I can recruit 3 more troops in my starting area as long as I have them. And players are limited by the number of troops that are in the game, which is going to be different depending on which army you're using. And then finally, building buildings and activating buildings. That's what the wrenches are used for. So maybe I want to build some shred drones. So I'll take one of these. It matches this building here. It costs 2 to put one of those in play, and it costs 1 to activate it. This one here, for example, kills an enemy in any adjacent region. So the machines here have a chance to kill enemies that are in regions next to them, or the orbital snipers anywhere on the board. Now when you move into a new area, you're going to flip this. There's trogs over the place. This one says place 3 trog and 3 crystals in this region. So you move in there and it's, oh no, now trogs have shown up. 3 more of them and 3 more crystals have shown up in that area. For the trog player, of course, they're pretty happy with that. For the other players, well, that's something you just have to deal with. Sometimes you'll move into the areas like this, you'll flip them over, and this says place 2 crystals in any region. Or this one here, place up to 2 of your units from your reserve into this region. Or this one here, draw 2 cards from your deck. These are almost always good things to get, so you'll find those by just going around the board and discovering new areas. And so players will do this. They're going to go around and fight battles, and I'll explain battles in a second. If one person plays this card, each person has the same card in their deck, which lets them enable scoring, then that player, whoever it was, let's say it's the machines who played it, will put this token up here. Only one person can enable scoring, and at the end of a round, each player is going to score points for each area, for each crystal in an area they control. So you can get a lot of points for crystals you control. They'll also score points for prisoners that they've captured. Well, that happens every round. And they'll score points for each region if they're the person who enabled scoring. And on the final round of the game, scoring is going to be enabled automatically, so no one gets those extra bonus points. Now, battles are important because if you win a battle, you're going to get 2 points. And if you want to kill your opponents and or capture them, and you want to control areas on the board for points during scoring. When a battle's after the end of a round, battles are going to be determined, and each battle is going to take place, and you'll pull your people off, and you're going to use a special battle board. Now, the attacker is going to decide where they're going to place on this battle board. So let's say, for example, that red places 2 there and 1 on the bottom. We have region control objective, capture prisoners objective, and attrition objective. And then the trogs decide that they're going to put both of theirs here under the capture prisoner objective. Now, if nothing else happens, this is the way this battle would work out. First, we say who technically wins the battle. We start at the top. The machines win the battle. They get 2 victory points, and they take control of that region. Doesn't matter what else happens. In a tie, the defender wins this one. Down here, the trogs are now going to capture 1 enemy from any battle objective. So they might capture these 2 guys here, and they're going to take, or maybe they'll just capture this one down here. Okay, let's say they're dumb and they capture the top 2 up here. They'll capture these 2, and now these are going to score them a point every round. And the machine will never get these figures back unless they're willing to sacrifice 2 victory points, which is a lot. So having your stuff taken captive is very dangerous because it will hurt you in the long run. And then we come down to the bottom, and red would kill one of these guys off the board. So you can see capturing is better than killing, but you also get a point for each person that you capture. So that's interesting. So you're trying to figure out the best place. So let's say red decides that they're going to spread out. Well, now the green player might say, well, I definitely want to win majority. Sure, I'll have one of my guys captured and one of them killed, but that's okay. Or maybe we just want to kill 2 of the red ones. So it's up to you how you play these. But players also can play cards. For example, this card here says move one of your troops from one battle objective to a different one. You play that after you see where your opponent puts his. Or maybe this one here, which says resolve the battle objectives in reverse order. So let's say this is the way it's set up, and then I play that card as the trogs. We're going to do this in reverse order. So we killed 2. So I killed both of these. No capturing occurs, but the red player still wins the battle and gets 2 points. But I still get the 2 points. So it's kind of interesting the different cards you can play. Now, many of the cards you get, like this one here, which lets you move one of your opponent's figures to a different objective, it shows an ice, and each territory on the board has a different type. So when you take these cards, you're going to look at what type of cards to take because you're trying to figure out what battles you might be involved in. And each area on the board, like I said, has 2 different types. And so this ice one will work in about half the battles on the board. But players will also have like this battle card here, which works in any battle. So that's basically the game. I mean, there's a lot of little things I didn't tell you, but a lot of it's going to be determined on how you run your faction. Like the Trogs have tunnels on the board that they can move from those tunnels as if they were adjacent to each other. The Pilgrims have ways to harvest crystals. They have machines, they get more and more crystals, and they can even pull crystals and put them in front of them, scoring them points. The troops have different ways to get points, and they have, for example, they can just take control of areas without even going there, or put tokens then that turn into troops when they're attacked. The Trogs are just everywhere, and then the machines are all about killing and death and destruction. And each one plays a different way, and you have to figure out how to use your cards that you have. For example, the Trogs here, they might have this card, which lets them move one of these war parties from one region to another region. They can fill up one region with Trogs. Or their basic one here lets them add more of these tokens to the board. Or this one here, they can remove one of their figures to turn over all these in one region on the board. Or here they get a new token called Native Forces token, and tactics can't be played in this battle. So you're just going to fight straight up without using tactics cards. Or here, return a terrain tactic card from your hand to the bottom of its deck and get a new one. So these are different cards, and you can use each of these once per turn. But these cards are completely different than the cards that the Pilgrims have or the cards that the Marines have. And so players are going to have to figure out the best way to play the game. The game is, this is the board for 3 or 4 players. If we look at the other side of the board, there's also a map for a 2-player game. And again, the Trogs will be around, but there's going to be War Party Trogs showing up on this board also. This game is so good. This is one of those games that after my first play of it, I said, into my collection right now. I'm taking it, boom, I'll get rid of almost any game. To be clear, so far, this is only the end of July of 2016, but so far this is my best game of the year, easily. Like, I'm not like, oh, well, isn't it better than Star Wars Rebellion, which is a good game? But no, favorite game so far, and easily in my top 50 games of all time, probably. I just love it. Now, why do I love it? Okay, let's talk about component quality. Yes, Ignacy and Portal Games have done an excellent job. These are good miniatures. They might not be as good as maybe Coolman or not, but they're pretty close. They look great. There's a lot of them in this box. I mean, this box is chock full of components. The cardboard is thick. The artwork is good. The board looks great. The art on the cards is good. This is a high quality game. Then secondly, I love variety in my games, and this game has a ton of variety with just how each game is going to feel differently and how the buildings and the different cards that you have. But more importantly than that, the asymmetrical difference between the factions is fantastic. They're so different. Now, on first blush, you might think the Trogs are the most powerful because it seemed powerful. It's more that Trogs are best for a beginner player, and that's why you only use them in a 4-player game, because you're like, oh, I got Trogs everywhere. What do I do with them? But each one plays differently. The Pilgrims, they're for the Euro gamers. You know, like, you're just collecting resources. We'll fight if we have to, but we just want to collect resources, giving you as many resources. The Marines are trying to go out and get objectives and score points, and the machines kill everyone. And so, which of those mindsets do you like? You'll find that playing each of these is so cool. And the number of players. It plays well with 2 and with 3 and with 4. 4 is my favorite because I like seeing all 4 factions. But the battles, love the battles in this game. This may be my favorite battle system of a game ever. And it doesn't even have dice. And oh man, I'm like, but I mean, it's so fascinating. You're sitting here going, do I want to capture my opponents? Oh, there's benefits to that. Killing them, benefits to that. We're just taking control of the objective, but I know my stuff might be captured and killed. And then how are these cards affected? I'm reversing order. I'm moving stuff from one objective to the other. How many cards does my opponent have? Do I need to store up cards, or am I going to save these cards for battle or use them somewhere else? I love the battle feature of this game. And they're not long. It's very intuitive. It's easy. It's quick. There's a lot of these games. I mentioned Star Wars Rebellion, which is a fantastic, wonderful game, and that game kind of slowed down at combat. It was a little boggy. This game, the combat is done, but at the same time, it gives you that, what do I do now? Wow, the combat is great. There's so much I could talk about the area control. I like area control games anyway. This one has the combat, the divergent factions. It plays, I mean, your first game might take 90 to 100 minutes, and after that, you'll find that it gets quicker, but yet it feels like more of an epic game. To be frank, I can't find a flaw in this game. That doesn't happen very often. I can usually find something I don't like about a game. The only miniature flaw I might say is that if you haven't played before and you like all 4 people, the Trog player will likely win because they have the easiest strategy. But maybe not even then if you're just like, no, we're not going to allow them to do that, and just kill Trogs everywhere you go. But wow. Oh, this is a game that I didn't even want to take a time to do review for because I would rather play it so much more. This is a game, like I said, I'm going to replace any game in here. It's going in my collection. I can't wait to play it again. It reminds me, it's in the same bucket as Kemet, as Nexus Ops, those light, Nexus Ops maybe not so much because Nexus Ops is a light war game, but this is much more than that with special abilities and cool things and controlling things, and you don't always have to fight, although you likely will fight often during the course of this game. And this is, if you were making a game for me to play, for me to love, this is what you want to do. This box is a bigger square box, but it's chock full of fun. Get this game, one of the best of the year. Guarantee it's going to show up on my top 10 and many others. It's amazing. Get it now. Dice Tower Judgment into my collection.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door.